Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. It's me, Digi. Kind of a Digi after dark tonight as we hop into American Truck Sim for the first time in a while on stream. I think I did Euro Truck Sim a few nights ago, just quiet. And today we're in American Truck Sim. Book of Gaming, my friend, my fellow brother in Christ. Welcome. Privilege having you aboard. Let's go find a job and see if we can do a medium haul tonight. I'm probably going to try to do a job that's going to take me about 2 hours to do. So this is going to be like an all night kind of deal. But I need to find a place where I can actually get a job. So let's go ahead and hit up external contracts. And we are in New Mexico. We're in a place called Artesia. And I want to find something fairly sizable. So the number I want here is close to 24 because I figured 12 hours of sim time equates to 40 minutes of actual time. So actually, in that sense, we need 36 hours or somewhere between 24 and 36. Ooh. Or we could do a bunch of mini jobs. That's weird. Had a dig in Arkansas. Haven't been there in a while. And I don't think I've been to Texarkana yet. All right, so we're gonna do, I think, two decent hauls and maybe one last one if I'm not too tired afterwards. So we're gonna take some ammonia to Texarkana. There we go. Okay, I gotta go find a trailer first. And don't mind me, Chad. I'm just adjusting my levels because I'm not gonna be talking too loud tonight. So let me see. If I just talk really low, oh no, I'm still hitting yellow. So you guys will probably hear me no problem. Just let me know if you have difficulty hearing me. I'll try to adjust the volume. Glad I looked both ways because there was some traffic. And there is our trailer. I wasn't expecting to go east tonight, but it looks like this will work. Alright, sweet. Let's get hooked up. Ooh, that was pretty close. That'll work. Let's go deliver some ammonia. Let's be nice. So, welcome in everybody. Again, this is American Truck Simulator, and I don't tend to stream truck sims much, but after, let's just call them an eventful couple of weeks of work, I have decided to pull back on some of the things I was planning to do. We're actually wrapping up a scenery dev project that I've been working on for a few months, and I want to get started on some other ones. But tonight, trucking beat flight simming by a literal flip of a virtual coin, and on the last make it count flip, trucking was chosen. So that's where we are. We are delivering ammonia to Texarkana, and it's going to take a while to get there. First route's going to take just under 40 minutes IRL. Fortunately, I like trucking. Also, fortunately, I didn't pick a ridiculously long haul for today because I feel myself a little tired, but at the same time, it's okay. Once upon a time, when I used to commute to work, something I'm extremely grateful to Yahweh that I do not have to do, I I used to go to sleep much earlier because I used to have to get up much earlier. And I remember, I think I tried staying up past like 11:30 trucking, and I literally fell asleep and wrecked. I didn't completely destroy my truck, but I caused enough damage and delay to get myself towed to another city for the repairs to be done. Fortunately, I think I was actually able to finish my delivery, but it cost me like virtually all the money that I would have made on my delivery. So, lesson learned, I guess. With that said, that was literally years and years ago, and now I'm at a place where I would say, on average, if I choose to go to sleep before midnight, it's either because I'm sick or because I'm going somewhere. So I would say, in general, the my landscape in terms of sleep and rest has changed. Not really the quantity per se, because my body's a good barometer for whether or not I get a good night's rest. I think what happens is, I mean, everybody's different, but in my book, if I get less than 6 hours sleep, I'm gonna have issues. If I get less than 5 hours sleep, I'm going to be just out of it and slogging through my work day. If I get less than 4 hours sleep, I'm either going to be utterly destroyed or it's because I'm traveling. Which, in one sense, to me, makes sense. I think we've talked about this on stream before. You have, I think your body naturally has 1.5 to 3 hours sleep cycles, or I'm sorry, you have 3 hours sleep cycles. So that's why it's kind of like easier to, I think. Well, okay, I'm gonna say this. For me, it's easier to sleep 6 hours because I think with 7 hours sleep, what happens is there's this kind of like natural break. Whew, I'm glad I saw that out of the car. With me, there's this natural break at like the seventh hour where I think my body naturally just resets. And then you have this thing where it's like, oh, okay, I'm still tired. Okay, I'm going back to sleep. So again, that's what happens with me at least. I think not that I can actually tell my brain, oh no, brain, we're sleeping 9 hours today. No, like the second full cycle is like a body check-in for me, and then I either keep going or I don't. But that was free information. But yeah, in general, I think I sleep between, I'd say about 6 or 7 hours of sleep a night, at least during the week. On the weekends, it tends to be more. And basically, unless there's a reason why I am, unless there's a reason why I am waking up stupendously early, I'm going to generally sleep in, generally sleep in on weekends. He's taking notes. Cool. Also, if you see me driving slower in a speed zone greater than, well, the speed limit's like above 65, it's not because I'm getting sleepy, even though I am. It's because the load, the cargo that I took was specific to the World of Trucks um, ecosystem. So in one sense, it's almost like FS economy, but FS economy is for like flight sim, and you have this system of you taking jobs that are for a reason. Like in FS economy, you make money, or like you make moves with airlines. In the sim, in American Truck Sim, and in Euro Truck Sim, you can do World of Trucks jobs for perks or for in-game DLC. The limit, of course, is that they govern the max speed you can achieve with your cargo, which is kind of cool. I mean, I don't necessarily mind it. If I'm going to be streaming trucking, it's not because I want to like take my truck down a highway at you know, like 100 miles an hour, hauling some dangerous cargo. No, no, no. It's because I want to share the experience, and I think it's just another like reminder of me needing to take my time. I mean, in particular with a cargo load like this, I would imagine, but it's okay. Also, I have like about $256,000 in my account in the sim. So I'm thinking at some point I'm probably going to consider either hiring another person for my garage or actually buying another garage, because I think I've maxed out the number of folks I have working for me right now. I only have one garage in Tucson, in Arizona, and it's been maxed out to, I think, 5 stalls. I have 5 employees. I think I have 5 employees and 5 trucks, counting my own. So if I can actually buy another garage, then I can actually start expanding even more, or at least just buy the garage, maximize space so that when I'm ready to, I can actually buy trucks and hire drivers. And I haven't taken out loans. I actually have not taken out loans. And I'm glad in one sense because loans require repayment, and operating out of like a full book lets me not have to worry about that. Mm. I know I've said this before, but I'm such a fan of the fake branding that's provided by default, because I'm guessing the SCS software company did not want to pay licensing fees for things like, Taco Bell or Taco Bell or Burger King or all those places. So you have things like Pizza House instead of Pizza Hut, Taco Kingdom instead of Taco Bell, and I think like my perennial favorite right now is Walbert instead of Walmart. I don't know what Home Depot. I forget what Home Depot actually is right now, what it's called. But like seeing the fake ads, I think kind of bothered me at first, and then the more I kept playing the game, the more they just grew on me to the extent where if someone has a map a multiplayer server where they actually have a mod that installs you know realistic brands, that's cool, but I won't mind going back to fake brands, in my sim, because my sim is, I think, fairly vanilla or fairly standard. So you're not going to see a whole bunch of mods here. Actually, I think the only mod that I have right now. No, no, I can. This truck can get damaged, so it's like I don't think I have anything special. I don't think. And if anybody here is watching new for the first time, I'm typically a flight sim streamer and a content creator, downloadable content designer. I like to design airports for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I'm trying to design new airports for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and eventually X-Plane as well. It takes time, and it does take effort. I like the idea of designing airports because the airports that are provided by default, the ones that are generated by the computer, they have what you need in order to operate an airport. The problem is that the airports don't look nice sometimes. And I mean, again, I think I get it. It's a question of trade-off. Like, are you going to hire a couple thousand employees to custom design all the airports in the world for you, or are you going to create and refine an algorithm that's going to paint airports all over the world for you and get them to a point where you can actually have someone land there, but you won't have to like pay a lot of people to actually make them happen for you. I see it. Like, it's okay. I'm not mad at them. It opens up a door for me to actually create an airport and replace that with my own representation. And I think in the new sim, in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, they're supposed to have this kind of like world hub where you will be able to either install free updates to existing airports so that your airports look better, or you'll upload your own airports that other people will be able to use for free. I forget how that works, and it's not something that's front of mind for me right now. But at the same time, if that's the way the industry is going, then fine. But I'm also it also is and isn't going to be a problem for me. Like, I would like to earn a good chunk of change on the side building airports for people to buy them and use them in Microsoft Flight Sim. But at the same time, I'm not I'm I also understand, like, my IRL work takes precedence because it's what actually pays the bills. Now, I want to design airports and I wouldn't mind being paid to do so, but I get it. Like, it's a thing where it's going to be difficult to launch a business to do that. But then again, it's always difficult to launch a business. And it made me wonder about some of the excuses that I make on a regular basis right now with things like, oh, like, I don't want to do this right now, I want to do this later, or I don't know if I'm going to, start my own business right now. It's like, well, when are you going to, Digi? Like, when are you going to make the decision to actually do something like that? And one of the reasons why I've wisely decided to do the absolute best I can and just maybe depend on my heavenly Father for guidance and timing is because, I'm sorry, it's because, there are other things I have to take care of, and I'm prioritizing what's more important. And what's more important is making sure my family's taken care of. So that's what I have to do. And to that end, anything that isn't immediately helping that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's playing at odds with the other priorities that I have. So I need to take it one step at a time and do the best I can. Now, should the day come when I decide or am able to decide, hey, we're better off financially and I have money set aside, I could potentially pursue this seriously, and I'm going to start thinking about, you know, what my timing is going to be, or whether or not I even need timing. Because I think at that point, what's going to happen is you're going to, kind of go against yourself, and you're going to be like, oh, well, eh, like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then eventually your brain's emergency brake will finish deploying, and you'll be like, I don't care anymore. Which, believe it or not, was where I was last last year, I think. Like about a year and a half to a year to like 2 years ago. At the height of my desire to start my own company, I took on, more airports, Microsoft Flight Sim, and I tried to build more airports. And I think what happened was the needs of my IRL job caught up with my brain and said, um, I need more of the brain's creative process, and I don't care if you lose interest in designing airports. Like, you have to pay bills, bub. So that's what happened. Am I sad or angry that it happened? I'm not angry that it happened. I did what I had to do, and I have no regrets about doing that because I'm grateful. I made the right choice. Like, we're not ideal right now, but I'm pushing it to do the best I can for my fam, and that's just how it is. which in one sense is also why I like doing things like truck sim, because in American truck sim or in Euro truck sim, there's there's no impulse, there's no need for me to design new roads. I'm letting them come up with that. I think I want to say now, like every 3 to 4 months, or every 3 to 6 months, maybe every 3 to 7 or 8 months, they release a new state in American Truck Simulator. The last one they released was Iowa, and I streamed that. I want to say I think 3 or 4 or 5 weekends ago, and I did 1 or 2 jobs in Iowa on my way out of the state, eventually getting to, I think I got to Missouri. I think I got to Missouri by way of Nebraska and Kansas. But I went west out of Iowa, and then I kind of looped back down to Missouri. And that's just how it worked out. I think I still like Euro Truck Sim, and I definitely like driving in Japan. But clearly, the American in me likes being on the open road, because the U.S. is a bit of a unique weirdo of a country with regards to logistics. By all practical intents, I think we should have been on track to be becoming like a country well interconnected by means of you know air and train transportation. But then I think what happened was, when the Great Depression of the 20s hit, the way some people envisioned the way out as a bunch of public works. Hey, Lyles, welcome aboard. Happy to have you. Some people envisioned the way out of the national, like depression, through public works, through building lots of infrastructure. And we went from barely having roads to, by I think like the 40s, 50s, and 60s, having a incredibly interconnected network of public highways and tollways. And then what happened was, at that point, we were able to crisscross the country on these things called interstate highways, what you might call autobahns or motorways. y- we call expressways. And there's varying kinds of highways where there's limited stopping or limited access. Most of the time they're called expressways. Sometimes they're called freeways, depending on where you live. And depending on the infrastructure, you might also have these things called parkways. And parkways are generally smaller roads that only accommodate passenger vehicles, maybe the odd commercial van. And you either do or you don't have limited access on parkways. You might have parkways that have stoplights. You might have parkways that have stop signs. You might have parkways that have below or above grade routing, where you either drive below intersections or above them. Generally, you don't tend to drive above intersections with a parkway system. However, when you're driving on a freeway or an expressway, you really generally do not have stop signs at grade intersections. Hey, welcome aboard, Oscar Descent. Very good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing very well. Privileged to have you aboard with us. we're ending out the week with some American Truck Sim, and I'm driving to Texarkana. I've got a load of ammonia that I'm taking to a chemical supplier. So we are defo on the way. We're driving through the night. We're probably going to get there by morning. Hmm, interesting. Interesting, Lyles. In general, I don't tend to have trouble driving through complex intersections in as much as one of the biggest problems that you have in major cities like LA or New York or anywhere where there's a huge concentration of people, you're going to run into a problem where people have difficulty navigating complex highway interchanges. I'll give you a for instance. Look at the interchange, look at the intersection. Oh, excuse me. Look at the intersection of interstates 95 and 87 in New York City. The interchange takes a below grade Interstate 87 and merges it with an above grade Interstate 95. And I would have to imagine the difference in height between where 87 is and where 95 is. I think it has to be at least 200 feet. So, in the space of something like 15 or 20 square miles, no, no, way less than that. In the space of like 2 to 5 square miles, you have, in order for you to go from 87 to 95, either to take the Cross Bronx Expressway east or to cross the George Washington Bridge into New Jersey, I think you transition vertically by at least 100 to 150 feet up, which is, I mean, the more I think about it, the more nuts it is. It's crazy. And the the thing the thing about highways like that, I mean, okay. Clearly I'm biased because I spent some time in New York City, but okay, I would imagine anybody that lives in LA would be like, "Okay, did you hold my drink?" I mean, the 101, the 105, the 405, the 10, the 5, the 15, especially downtown LA or the parts of LA in and around the LAX. Those intersections and those highways are just ginormous feats of civil engineering. So it's a thing. Like, I'm both impressed and confused. And don't think don't, don't think that I haven't gotten confused driving on highways. I have. And sometimes you just have to drive a while before you can fix your mistake and get turned around. Most of the time, though, especially these days with you being able to see your entire route in anything from, like, say, Bing Maps, Google Maps, anything else, you can generally get a gist of where it is you're going to go and whether or not you're going to have a chance of getting there smoothly on like the first pass. Also, what I thought was funny was I remember having Rand McNally maps. I haven't seen an atlas in, I want to say, a good 6 years. And the Rand McNally company has now kind of like doubled down on logistics and trucking, and they actually sell these premium tablets and GPS devices that that are specifically made for trucking industry, which I think is dope because it's like, well, with the advent of GPS devices, paper maps and atlases were made irrelevant. And then with the advent of smartphones with built-in turn-by-turn directions, GPS devices were made irrelevant. So if I used to have one, which I think I gave to a friend of mine a long time ago, but at the same time, I liked the novelty of having a device which actually, you know, pretty much was just there to help you get turn by turn directions with the help of a satellite. But now we have our phones that do that. So there's that. But yeah. Highway systems, expressways, freeways, those have complicated interchanges, multi-level interchanges, and the interstate system is something that took me a little while to understand, but I also know how it works now, or at least I have a general idea how it works, and it's just stuck. Like two-digit or single-digit interchanges that are even are east-west, and odd single and double-digit interchanges are north-south. And if you have triple-digit interchanges, if the first number is odd, that means you're either going into a city, or you're like you're kind of going one way off the interstate highway, and you're going to wind up off the interstate system somewhere. And if the first number of the triplet is a even number, then you're most likely going to be on a loop. The loop is either going to lead you back to the interstate highway, or what's going to happen is the loop will connect with another interstate highway. Clearly, I'm a roadie because I like talking about stuff like that. I do like flying too. Don't get me wrong. I ran out of time today, and to be honest, I think it was my fault. I just didn't plan correctly, and I also got too enthralled hanging out with my fam and my pets. I have a couple of cats, and I'm blessed. I mean, Mrs. DG and I owned pets before we got married separately, but it was some time before we actually got pets together. And the ones that I have now, it's like, bless them, they like hanging out with me. A little roast, for some reason, I don't know why, but they they like to go where I go. The one doesn't like to let me out of eyesight, which is cool and cute, and I'm grateful for it. So today was more of that. I'm sorry to hear about your allergies, Lyles. A little mud turtle. I had a couple of tiny green lizards at one point, and unfortunately, they both passed because I didn't have the equipment to sustain them, and I didn't know enough about lizard care, but they were, in my opinion, just amazing, amazing creatures. And whenever I travel to Disney and I see lizards on like the walking paths, as long as it's not like ridiculously cold out, they catch my attention. They they're they're never gonna come up to me. They're wild and you know it's like human, but basically a blue-tongued lizard. Wow. Oh, you know what? A long time ago, I spent time hanging out with my wife and some of their friends, some of her friends, and they had this huge, huge, huge lizard, basically like a mini dragon. And I want to say it was a Gila monster, but it wasn't. It was like a lizard with like armor. Um, I guess those are Gila monsters, but basically, what I found so interesting was it cozied up to me almost immediately because they're very cold-blooded, I guess, and they get their warmth by being around others. So I was more than happy to hold it for a while, and it was more than happy to be held. Um, not spiky, more like kind of like scales, like an alligator. Um, I guess an iguana, but the green ones I had were monitors. Like I don't know, a agnals or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, it was like I would say a bit less than a foot long, a bit less than a foot long, and it was magnificent, magnificent. I wasn't afraid of it. I liked holding it, and it liked being held. So again, it was really really cool. The You okay? Um, the height of my reptilian interest was when I actually held I want to say like a baby crocodile. Um, it would, they were trained trained reptile handlers clearly, and they had his mouth, its mouth, taped up, but it was still amazing. And I asked like how old it was, and it was like I think it was like a week old, and it looked huge. I mean, it wasn't huge, but it was about a foot long or longer. Probably about, actually no, I take that back. It was like 3 feet long, and clearly a croc like that was going to get to be about, I don't know, say something like, I don't know, several hundred pounds, and be like 10 feet long, 12 feet long. I would imagine that to be the case. I would. Would I ever own an iguana or like a Gila monster or something like that? Probably not. Probably not. I learned my lesson from the tiny lizards, and basically the problem is kind of like owning a dog or a cat. It it's a full-on commitment, and I'm not gonna pretend for a moment that I'm in a spot where I can both take care of my pet cats as well as like a lizard. I mean, I think it would be cool, but at the same time, the environment has to be set up correctly. And I am in a place where it gets very cold and very hot over the seasons. So I need to make sure I have the ability to maintain and sustain it, and also its diet. So, you know, if I'm if I'm not careful, bugs running around the house. So clearly, that's another perspective that I'm going to say. I'm going to say I'm not interested in pursuing at this time. But otherwise, they're cool. In other words, I have this thing called other people's pets syndrome, where other people's pets are amazing. Wow. And you just shed light on something that's very interesting to me, Lyles. I hadn't given any mode of serious thought to how expensive it is to care for ferrets. And ferrets are cute, but it sounds like they're also expensive. Okay, I'm in a hurry, so I'm not going to bother parking it. Go ahead and judge me. And there we go. That's the real time it took for me to actually get this done. And that's not a bad haul. Base reward a little less than $40,000, and then I got a proficiency bonus and a long distance delivery bonus, and I also got loads of experience, including my hazmat delivery bonus, skillage. So, um, do I want to do another load? I think I will, but I think I'm gonna make it a short one. And anything short of, I think, like 8 hours should be fine. That is 7 hours, which I think is going to be like another like 25 to 30 minutes, which isn't bad. Okay. All right, guys, let me stretch my legs for a few moments and go check out my pets, and I'll BRB for our second leg. Stand by. Folks, I'm back. Let's go ahead and pick a job and get on with the second and I think basically the final run for tonight. I had a mind to probably do a longer haul, but again, I think time got away from me. So I think Lawton's going to be good. We'll call it. Let's go grab a load. Where is it actually? Way back there. All right. Second and final load for this evening. Oh, is that my friend? Come on in, friend. Come say hello to the people. Well, come on. Or my one cat is is kind of like doesn't does and doesn't want me to pay attention to her. So it's like I don't know how that's gonna work. Uh, okay. Alright, so I need to get turned around up here, I think. Oops. Crash vehicle offense. Oopsies. It's all right. Even the pros make mistakes, and that was definitely a mistake. That's the worst thing that happens on this stream. I'm happy. Oh, so 6:13 in the morning, and the early morning light and especially shadows are a little. They seem like a little uncanny valley, but it's okay. There's always been this weird point between um, first rays of sunshine and the sun coming up and the light mapping setting itself up a certain way. Hello, Scott. Welcome aboard. Um, Not doing scenery dev tonight, so not worried about saving work, but I definitely appreciate the sentiment. Thank you and welcome in. We are in American Truck Simulator tonight. I did a little bit of a haul from New Mexico to Texarkana, and now we're leaving Texarkana and we're going to Oklahoma to deliver some pesticide. Had to use my points. Nice, nice. Well, thank you for using your points. I appreciate that. That doesn't look good. Ooh, nice flight to Hawaii from LAX. Lyles, I did not know about that. And that sucks. That's not good. Also, I think what's going to bite these companies in the long run is the same thing that I think bit some of the companies that chose to use certain tools, we'll just say, for their hiring process. And now I think they're legally mandated to back report any kind of hiring instance where an automated tool was used as opposed to not used. So, in other words, chat, I think what I'm trying to say is if companies are resorting to tactics or methods like that to try to save money and get more productivity out of their staff, it's not going to work well for them in the long run. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's going to blow up in front of them, and the end result is not going to be good. It's regrettable and it's sad. Has it escaped Yahweh Elohim's notice? No. And the thing that usually hangs over people's heads is that this stuff comes back to bite them on average, usually in the worst way possible. So you're gonna have a massive amount of accountability you're gonna have to be responsible for, and it's not gonna look good. It's also not gonna work well, like as in at all. So I mean everyone's mileage will vary, but that's probably what's gonna happen. Actually, on an even more humorous note, I I kind of gave up on the idea of like trucking economy. Don't mind me, like I like the idea of trucking in the sim. I really, really enjoy Euro Truck Sim 2 and American Truck Sim. But my my problem is that I tried to join someone else's virtual trucking company and then I tried to start my own after I joined the company, and it didn't work out. Short story, basically I was with a virtual trucking company for a while and I ran out of interest so quickly. And I think I I just I'm like I did some trucking, on some nights, but then after a while I was like, I like trucking, but I don't like trucking every day. And then I think what happened was the everything kind of snowballed. I stopped trucking, so I didn't want to truck as much. So I didn't like trucking for even virtual profits. So I I avoided trucking, which then made even less sense for me to hop into the sim. It was just this like snowball effect of me not wanting to do anything. Now, if you want to start a trucking company and you are not like me, which means you're not someone that does software development for a living and is also trying to do flight sim scenery development and uses trucking as a way of like absolutely chilling out every once in a while, then go for it. Like it's what am I trying to say? Your methods or your incentives are different than mine. So I would say go for it. At least I think I'd say go for it. But yeah. So I mean, I know it makes no sense for me anymore because I know that I like trucking as a way of just mellowing out and chilling. If I did this for a living, there would be there would be a lot more that I'd have to consider in terms of, oh, I don't know, like logistics, routes, all this other stuff. So yeah, used to own a 5M community. That sounds familiar to me, and I forget why. But no, no, it whatchamacallit, it's not. Those those are probably not ones that I got involved in. I'm just talking about stuff purely from the sake of, you know, virtual trucking or community gaming. I don't know. Uh, right? Got 5 hours and 22 minutes, so I can definitely take my time getting around this truck. Now, you almost you almost hit. Yes, you're right. You're right. Um, that Crown Vic. Fortunately, I didn't. That would have been embarrassing, especially if that was an undercover cop or plain clothes. But oh man, I remember when I used to drive so much that every time a Crown Vic passed by, I'd be like, "Was that a cop?" So yeah, yeah, definitely a reminder of the old gut check moments on the road. What's that? Oh, thanks. Stand by, chat. Ooh, very nice. Yeah. Stand by, BRB. Well, better my gamepad than my soup, I guess. I Mrs. DG made herself some soup and she gave me the leftovers. Was that? Oh, right, right, right. Okay, so we should be fine. Um, yeah. Let me know if you can't hear me. That's a joke. Oh, speaking of police, there was one on the other side of the road. Wow, just like the old days. Ooh, a police interceptor. Ah, wasn't that like the hidden dream of like virtually anyone that had run across a police interceptor in their life? I used to want to buy a a used Crown Vic and drive around in like like a set of khakis and like a blue shirt and just be professional all the time and not impersonate a police officer, certainly not. Like, I wouldn't want to point a hair dryer out my window and make people think twice, because that's a really quick way to get yourself thrown in jail. But just the idea of buying a police interceptor and driving around and just like in like a blue shirt and khakis with shades on, and just make people be like, wait, is he a cop? 170,000 miles. That's crazy. Oh, wow. I missed the part where you said that you wrecked your car. I mean, obviously it looks like you survived and you did okay. So grateful that you weren't severely injured. Seriously. And he has handcuffs. Not doing too bad. Making our way across the good old state of Texas, the Lone Star State. Oh, so you used to work for corrections. Dude, respect to you for that. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not a good day. That is not a good day. I'll wait for the next light. I'm glad I chose to do trucking tonight. I think I would have been okay doing flying too, but just this turned out to be very interesting. It did. It did. And again, to the folks in chat that are lurkers or regulars, thank you for lurking. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Somebody once told me a story. They they went to a bar. They had one too many, and they wrecked their van. They didn't hurt anybody else, but basically they they like completely ruined their front end. Like they had to, I guess, like replace the grill, the headlights, the bumper, probably do a few other fixes as well. And essentially they had to report to court, and basically they spent, they literally told me they had to because they turned themselves in. They basically spent, I think, like a day and a half in jail, or like a day in jail. And they told me, like, I was in my cell. They said, hey, you can do this, you can go here, you can eat. They had a cell by themselves, and basically they told me I didn't go anywhere, I didn't eat anything. I don't think scratch that. I don't think they were in jail for like a day and a half. I don't even think they were in jail for a day. I think they literally were in jail for like 14 hours or something like that. Whatever the judge decided to sentence them for that. And basically they said I didn't need to go anywhere or do anything, so I stayed exactly put. And then when I served my time, I got out. Oof, you cut off your dash cam. Wow. that's gonna that ooh, that's a no bueno. Oh, and I learned this little piece of wisdom. Basically, if you have to report for DWI in court, do not use mouthwash the night before or the day of, cause mouthwash, cause alcohol. So, yeah, which completely surprised me when I first heard of it, but at the same time it's like, well, that makes sense now. But yeah, like it totes made me go, I'm sorry, what? Oh, wow. It is raining. We got a little bit of rain last week around here, but we could use some more. Or at least probably I figure we could use some more. Yes. Yes. I know that now. I didn't know at the time that there was mouthwash that didn't have alcohol in it. It's this I guess either weird or just different formula. Oopsies. Sorry, dude, but you were in my blind spot. Rolls down the window. Send me the bill. And yeah, this sim is the reason why I have a lot more respect for tractor trailer drivers. Because especially with heavy loads, they will not be able to stop immediately. And then you add driving in the rain on top of that. Yeah, if you're a truck driver, you're going to get a wide berth from me, generally. Or I'm going to do my best to stay out of your blind spot. Because, at speed, I'm just going to be this kind of like shove, crunch, and that's not good. Okay, so you worked off probation. Got it. I should say your probation requirements have been satisfied. So, 3 hours and 3 minutes of sim time to go, and we're not doing bad. Actually, you know what? Let me pull off the road here. I'm gonna get some gas, and then we're gonna also fill up. I'm sorry, get the truck fixed. Doo-doo-doo. Stop sign. It's fortunate to be able to have, you know, a standard of trust among people, and to have somebody that you can actually, have somebody that vouches for you. So that's good. Let's get the truck fixed. Get recommendations. Oh, wow. Let's see. Yeah, let's replace the the brakes, I think. There we go. Next thing is some gas. Okay, so you don't drive anymore. Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't I don't look down on anybody that doesn't actually, like have a driver's license or like drive a vehicle in the States. If you can get around using public transportation or you have friends or family that you can carpool with, rock on. Um, Life happens and you can't I guess keep dwelling on it. I mean, take it from somebody that does dwell on their mistakes. It's pointless. All right, let's see if we can finish this run. How many other cars can we hit? I mean, nice. This truck is actually not turning. Wow, interesting. All right, 2 hours and 55 minutes of sim time, which probably means about, I don't know, 12, 10 minutes. God, I can definitely tell you the past 3 years have taught me to value many things, including my job. I am grateful. Every single job I've worked at has had its drawbacks, and every single job I've worked at has had its benefits. I am sincerely grateful to be employed right now. Even though it's hard, even though it sometimes produces or puts me in situations that are irritating, that's the same thing with pretty much every job I've worked at. So I wish you success in, getting to a point where you have work or getting to a better position or getting to a better position financially. Say the one thing that I learned, especially over the past year, when you have to squeeze your money, there are things that you discover that you do with your money that you don't like doing anymore. Like, I couldn't tell you, I literally could not tell you the last time I darkened the doorstep of a movie theater to go see a movie. If I did that, I would let's see. Let me see. Tickets tickets alone would probably be like 20 to $35 easy. And then popcorn, soda, and like nachos, that's like another, I'm gonna say, $40 gone. So there's certain things that I used to do on a regular basis, kind of like on autopilot, that I don't do anymore because it's just that simple. Like it's just how things are. Like, I can see the expenditure and my lack of funds, but I'm also grateful in the past year, I've also started to claw back up the ladder, and I'm able to, get by. We're scraping by, but we are scraping by. I haven't seen this part of Texas. Yeah, man, I feel like I've learned so many lessons the past year. So many. Like my 20s were basically my literal adolescence. Like there was so much stuff that I couldn't do on my own. Um my 30s basically were like my my just this period of just learning how to do more while also having this standard of living which at first seemed silly and then it was silly. We'll leave it at that. I'm younger than old, but I'm older than young. Coming into town somewhere. I really feel as an American citizen that SCS software did at least part of their homework when they tried to capture the feel of, I guess, the American road experience. A lot of this stuff looks nice. Yeah, yeah, I've had it happen before. You you wake up and you feel like 20, 30 years older for some reason. Usually it's just because, I overexercised and I'm gonna feel sore for like a day or two. But I also get it. Oh, so we're turning right on red? Cool. Excellent, excellent. Thank you, PC and PCs. Looks like my friend is coming in to say hello, so the end of streaming time is nigh, which is cool. I only have like 55 minutes of sim time, so I'm literally going to be pulling into the place and calling it a stream. Again, thanks to everybody that stopped by today. Really appreciate you. Thanks for saying hello. Thanks for hanging out. And Again, to my lurkers, thank you so much for being here. You simply being a part of the channel experience makes my probably my recommendations grow. So thank you. To the folks that are just tuning in, I'm wrapping up an American Truck Sim run, and I'm generally unscheduled. Like, I tend to stream towards the weekend and either on Saturday or Sunday, but at the same time, I don't have a hardcore plan for when I stream. And when I do, it's either something like flight simming or scenery development. Generally, I try to do scenery development during the week, but at the same time, I don't know what my schedule is going to be like from week to week with regards to work and IRL responsibilities. So it does depend on what my workload is like in real life. It does. So that's the thing. Another 4 hours to go. Rock on. Slow down. Slow down. Okay. No one's coming. All right. So we are literally down the road from our final destination here for the stream. Do I think that I will continue doing American Truck Sim streams? Well, the last time I did an ATS stream, the answer was yes. So this will probably continue. But again, like the last time I did an ATS stream, I don't have any plans or specifics with regards to schedule. Twitch is something that I enjoy doing with my friends, and for, I think, I guess you could say, social reach, I don't, um, I don't do it as a job. Maybe I should. But at the same time, if this gives me gourmet potato chip money, that's great. That's not a bad idea, actually, Scott. I was thinking about doing Convoy, and you might have just given me the motivation to start looking into setting up Convoy stuff. So I'll have to start looking at that. This is dope. All right, we have arrived at our destination, and this was what I was hauling. Still like my truck. Let's go ahead and wrap up the delivery. And just like the last one, I'm not going to care. Linus, thanks so much for your time tonight. Appreciate you. Have a great one. All right, so we're on our way to level 33. Level 40 is the next major status bump. And I'm sure I'm a rookie compared to some people. But another 21,000. Not bad. Let me save my progress. Not a bad idea. More fun with money. Okay, now I have. Hey, Fuzzy Pickles, welcome. All right, good to see you, friend. I'm actually beginning to wind down, but I am interested in taking a look at my company's progress. So let's take a look at my garage manager. I actually have two garages. This is dope. My Tucson garage has 5 people, including myself. So let's go ahead and add some folks. Oh, okay. Clearly, I'm not paying attention. I have hired 5 other people. That's cool. Thank you, Fuzzy Pickles. Do I want to buy another garage? I'd like to buy another one. Is there a way that I can buy a garage without actually? Oh, I might be able to. So, Tucson and Flagstaff. So I guess I can't. I guess I can't buy a garage like sight unseen. No, and both my garages are fully staffed. So I think I'm gonna have to do this offline and decide. But while we're looking at these drivers, I can probably take a look at the trucks they're driving. Mac Pinnacle, Mac Anthem. What I could probably do is drive a different truck for a while. I don't know. I mean, the truck that I drive is pretty tricked out. So I could probably give it to my highest performer. Let's see. Profit for distance. Yeah, that's Elena. Elena's driving a Freightliner, which is kind of dope. Mac Anthem Day Cab. Volvo. Volvo. Mac Anthem. Yeah, I don't know. There's something really charming about this one. Oh, no worries, Fuzzy. Um, it took me more than a little while to get my crew established, and I think once you get to the point where you can actually um get another truck and a driver, that's when the money kind of starts coming in faster. Hey, Nathan's Plains, welcome aboard, friend. Good to see you. Good to see you. Uh, we are doing a little bit of Truck Sim Manager Simulator, and I'm debating whether or not I want to actually swap with one of my drivers for their day cab. I have a Peterbilt customized truck, and I'm thinking whether or not I actually want to drive a Mac for a little while and appreciate the other aspects of driving a different truck. Would I recommend buying a second truck or first trailer? I would recommend buying a second truck because a second truck makes you want to hire a second driver. And even with a initial garage, I think you should at least be able to have one other driver working for you, which has the possibility of bringing in more income. And then you get that income rolling in, and you can actually get more jobs, or excuse me, not get more jobs, get more income, which makes you earn money faster, which makes you move up the ladder faster. So let's have some fun with this. I've driven this truck for a very long time. Let's go ahead and swap it with one of my drivers. You can buy garages, yes, but basically you have to, I think at least at the beginning, um, you have to basically go to the place where you are. So I am in Texarkana. So let me do this. I think I'm gonna keep my truck, and I think I'm gonna figure out what the nearest garage is. So nearest garage is in Lawton. I don't think I can. Heard it. I don't think I can actually get to Lawton by quick travel. So tonight might not be a good night for that. Uh, but that's the closest garage that I can see. Anything closer than that? No, I don't think so, actually. We, it took a while to get there. How long would that take? That'd take an hour and 48 minutes? Okay, that's like 5 minutes. That's fine. That's fine. And the amount of time that I can like talk a spiel and wrap up, I can probably be there. And then you can see me by a garage. Which also gives me the impediment, or excuse me, the incentive to hire more people. So let's go. Let's blaze. Do I use a wheel? I do not. I've been happily driving with a gamepad since I want to say probably like 2017, 2016. No. Yeah. Now, am I against driving with a wheel? No. If I had the money, I'd probably buy one. But then again, if I bought a steering wheel and gas, like a gas brake pedal set with a steering wheel, then I'd have to mount and unmount every single time I wanted to truck stream. So having a gamepad lets me so easily transition between that and flight simming. It's just the convenience factor is ridiculous. So it's something that I definitely appreciate. So bonus content, chat. We're gonna go buy garage. And again, it's not that I'm against the idea of driving with a steering wheel. It's that if I had one, then the issue becomes, hey, like, how long is it going to take for me to get it set up and torn down? And essentially, that is the activation cost. Like, it doesn't matter that I can get a steering wheel and gas brake pedal set for like, I don't know, low to mid 150 to 200, 250 with force feedback, or 350 with force feedback. It doesn't matter, that I could afford it or that it wouldn't even make a dent in my budget. It's For me, it's all about the convenience. And driving with like a typical like game Xbox or like PlayStation controller will test your patience as you get used to figuring out what the sensitivities are of the Joy-Con. The Joy-Con, the sticks. But it's one of those things where if you get really into it after a while, what happens is it's like, what's the point? What is your aim? Do you aim to drive ultra realistically, or do you just want to drive And forget about like forget about work for a little bit, because if you want to drive, if you just want to drive, then at what point does it become necessary for you to have a full setup? If that's what you really want and you have the money, then okay, do your thing. But at the same time, coming from my perspective, and we're not even talking about the money, again, it's like, how much time do I want to spend setting myself up for, a stream? Because Digi lazy. But don't don't let, like, chat, don't ever let me deter you from a purchase. If you have the funds to make the purchase, if you're in a good spot, if that purchase is not going to make you uh you know comparatively hampered financially by comparison, you know if if buying like a $700 Moza steering wheel and gas brake pedal kit is the equivalent of you buying a Happy Meal at McDonald's, and you have the money and you have the interest, like, I'm not going to stop you. Go for it. So that's my perspective. I will say, like I've said many times before, I keep chuckling to myself because I actually had an opportunity to buy I think it was like a Logitech G23 or G26 force feedback steering wheel and gas brake pedal set, and I didn't. And I'm actually glad I didn't, because that was like right before I went through some, we'll just call them tricky financial straits. And it would have represented one more thing I would have had to have sold. So basically, it's like, I'm glad I didn't set myself up for disappointment. Do I kind of wish I would have bought it? Not really. Not really. Because again, like, getting back to my primary point, I gamepad so much that, other than the idiosyncrasies of like over controlling or oversteering with the gamepad Joy-Cons, after a while, it's kind of like the old story. Remember how it used to be, oh, movies coming out in IMAX 3D all the time. 3D movie this, 3D movie that. And you go to the movie theater, you put on your 3D glasses, you eat your popcorn, you drink your soda, and then I think after like 10 minutes to an hour, it your brain, I think, either diffuses or just ignores the 3D effect, and all that's left is the headache when you're done watching the movie, because you've been watching a 3D movie for like hours. But it's kind of like the argument. Um, somebody coined the term hedonic treadmill as a way of describing the allure of perks and benefits of work and how they become normal over time. So, in one sense, the old argument for 3D movies and how even the 3D effect becomes normal over time. Again, that's kind of like what made me walk away from buying the steering wheel and not feel bad about it at all. Again, your mileage will vary, so that's my experience. So we made it to Lawton. So basically, we've got like what, another 2, 3 minutes to go, maybe 5 minutes to go at this pace, and then we'll be able to buy a garage, and it will be my third. and my first in Texas. Not bad. Not bad. Great night, chat. A couple of runs and now a little bit of business homework. Scouting out a garage. Okay, so it's going to be on my left. Uh, Here we are. We happen to be next to a. Oh, here it is. Here it is. It's called Home Store instead of Home Depot. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's great. Oh, SCS software. Don't ever change. Seriously. Keep serving the memes up fresh. Just the way I like them. Okay, so this garage is for sale, and I'm going to buy it. Okay, it's on sale for $180,000. We're going to buy it. Welcome to Texas, chat. All right, let's go in. Ooh, new email. We'll check the email once we get to the menu. Nice and cozy in here. All right, let's manage the garage. So, this is the unimproved garage. I can spend another $100,000 to upgrade it, but I'm going to wait a little bit. And while I'm here, I'm going to check my email. Oh, nice. Look at that. With my third garage, now I can actually buy garages online. See, I wasn't able to see this before, and now I can purchase garages online. So this is fantastic. All right, let me manage this particular location. And now we're going to look for drivers. Well, okay. First thing I need to do is buy a truck. So I'm going to buy a Peterbilt, and I'm going to get somebody a day cab. I have I have enough. So I have, let's see, a 389 day cab and a 579. They both have the same horsepower. This one's a little cheaper. Both have the same amount of torque. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. So we're going to ship it to our garage. Oh, I had to pick a slot. Actually, you know what? Let me back up. We have Freightliner, Kenworth, International, Mac. All right, chat. First person to tell me what brand I'm going to buy gets it. I'm looking at Volvo, Mac, Western Star, International, Kenworth. You let me know. And if you don't let me know in like the next like 30 seconds, I'm making my own choice. But yeah, International, Peterbilt, Freightliner, Western Star, Volvo. Right now, we're probably going to buy another Mack truck, unless the Freightliners are particularly appealing. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Let me take a look at Freightliner first, and then if Freightliner doesn't have any good looking trucks, I will go ahead and buy a Mack. So let's see. I have just enough for a Cascadia, which I think somebody else has a Cascadia. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. My top performer has a Cascadia. I don't have enough for a 48-inch sleeper, but this might be enough for somebody. However, since I wanted a Mac and I haven't hired anybody yet, this this will be the best time for me to actually buy a Mac and slip into it. So we have a Mac Anthem and a Mac Pinnacle. There are, I think, a couple of Mac Anthems that we have in our company that I could probably swap into, but I don't, I only have like one other Mac Pinnacle. So, I mean, the novelty will go away almost immediately. But what's also helping me make the decision is that this has more horsepower and more torque than the standard Anthem cab. So, let me customize the configuration real quick. I'm not going to do too much. I just want to pick a different paint color. It's cobalt blue right now. $4,500, I can make it totally black or like bright red, super white, or something in the middle in terms of like um, silver. But you know what? You know what? I'm going to back up and just buy it as is because it kind of there's something about that color. There's something about this color that I like. Now, can I do anything to improve? Okay, so I would need to spend more money to get the sleeper. And also, is that how much money I have left? Let me back up. Yeah, that's how much money I have left. And that's fine. That's fine. I'll buy it as is. I'll ship it to my garage and I'll stick it in this slot. Okay, so now let's go to the garage. There's my garage. I could probably drive it. All right. I'm extremely curious to see what this thing looks like. Ooh, look at that. Look at how old school this thing is. It's a thing of beauty. Ooh, check out the horn. Oh, wow. I might be in trouble, Chad. I like the way this truck sounds already. I know, it's just like so weird and distinctive. So, um, Let's take this thing for a drive. I mean, it's underpowered right now, that's for sure. It sounds so cool. And the turn indicator is so clicky. Turn indicator reminds me of so many old cars I used to drive. Thank you so much, Fuzzy Pickles. God bless you and your family in Jesus' name. Rest well, and I pray that your weekend is a blessed one. Take care, friend. I'm pretty much almost wrapped up at this point. Also, happy to take this for a little spin. Alright, so I think I'll make a left turn and go back to the garage. I can see it from here. This has been pretty cool. So it's an interesting truck. Do I think I'm gonna keep it? Because I can always, you know, reload and like swap out. But at the same time, you can just assign the Mack truck to somebody else and then just keep making money, which is probably what I'll do for now. I like the way the Mack truck sounds, but I think that's one of those, it's definitely one of those impulse buys. But such is life. I'm not going to worry about it. And my company is still young enough that I could probably, upgrade the trucks. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Right now, though, I'm going to find a driver for this newly purchased truck, and then we're going to go figure out what to do. So let's see. Think think we're going to have Adam S step up to the plate. Adam sounds like a really neat character. Bingo. So now we have Adam assigned to the Mac Pinnacle. So hopefully what will happen is we will have some income from Adam in the not too distant future. So I'm going to do a different save, and then we're going to call it a night. Definitely at this point. New garage. Less money. Okay. Chat. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. I will most likely not be on tomorrow. If I do game, it's going to be nice and chill and off the radar. Um, Anything on Sunday, I do not know right now. So expect nothing else this weekend. You might be surprised by a Sunday stream. I don't know. And then depends on what's going on this week with regards to IRL work. I might do evening quiet dev. It depends. Again, it really depends on schedule and other responsibilities. But until then, folks, much love to all of you. And like I always like to say at the end of every stream, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace. And that's Jesus Christ. Take care, friends. Have a great night and an amazing weekend. Until next time. Bye.